All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Teachings and Education. We're going to do a topic on homework. It's called homework design, research, purpose, guidelines, and success. And over the years, homework has become a very controversial subject where some teachers don't believe in homework, other teachers strongly believe in it, and we'll talk about that a little bit too. So let's get right into it here. All right. So just before we begin, real quick, there's a video out there. I'll post it in the description, and that's where you can see you'll see these infographics come from the video, and it kind of covers a lot of what I'll be doing. All right, so the purpose of homework. Okay, there's a lot of different reasons for using homework. We're gonna go over them, and like I said before, we're gonna say later on we'll talk about the criticisms, some of the reasons why you may not want to use homework in your instruction. So here's a quick infographic of some of the reasons to use homework. And so let's begin. Now, what's the overall purpose of assigning homework? Obviously, there's several reasons. One of them being to refine the skills that were developed in the classroom. And when I say refine, I mean to improve on them. Okay. For example, balancing chemical equations for all you chemistry teachers out there is kind of like a skill. Okay, they really don't have a perfect formula or prefer a perfect algorithm or whatever you want to say on how to balance chemical equations. The only way you get good at that is by more practice. Okay, the more problems they practice, the better they become at it. All right, so that's one purpose of homework. It's meant to extend learning. Teachers want students to think deeper and take their knowledge to the next step, which can be done with the right type of homework. Homework should also prepare students for upcoming exams and assessments. The assignments, I'm talking about homework assignments, can be as simple as just asking the students to study a textbook and turning a study outline. Okay. Now, homework should rarely be graded as an assessment, as students should be allowed to make mistakes. I don't believe, yeah, I think homework is definitely, an area where they should be able to make mistakes. And when you grade quizzes and things like that, students get nervous and they make mistakes wrong and they're penalized. So you really don't want to penalize students for making mistakes on homework. What you want to penalize them for is when they don't do it, or when they copy from somebody else, or if they're just doing it without even trying. And you'll be able to tell that. So teachers are advised to assign homework problems that align to the day's lesson, right? And then check for understanding the following day. So if you're going over the topic of, let's stick with chemistry. So let's say you're doing balancing equations. You want to, for the day that's your day's lesson, then you want to assign homework on balancing equations. And then when you come back, you ask the students the next day if they have any questions. And if there's any questions, you go over those problems. Homework usually reinforces concepts that are learned during class, not to introduce new content unless we're talking about a flipped classroom model, right? New content is usually introduced during class time, but the flipped classroom model is a different approach. Okay, and here's just a quick video I have on the flipped classroom if you want to know a little bit more about that, if it's new to you. All right, so research. What's the research on homework? I checked a lot of sites and read a lot into this, and there's multiple. First off, you have to realize when you look at the research of homework, there's multiple factors to study. For example, what prior, when I'm talking about the research, is homework effective? You know, so there's all different factors. Students' home lives, the school they go to, the teacher. So it's a little tough here, but here's the key point. Although there is extensive research on homework, there's really no consensus on its effectiveness. Okay, if you've if you're a believer in the Robert Marzano one, in his nine strategies for highly effective teaching. Obviously he has homework as one, and he does a lot of research out there. So that's his research saying homework's effective. But then there's other data out there that says homework's not effective. So there's no consensus. The research is conflicting, right? Educators will have different opinions on the effectiveness of homework because at this time, there's no definitive results. One of the reasons that the research is inconclusive is because there are so many different factors that go into a student's success or failure. Okay, it's very important to pinpoint success or failure solely on the homework. That's where it's tough. Research shows homework effectiveness varies between grade levels. Okay, that's another thing. Grade levels, genders. Again, there's so many factors, right? For example, assigning more homework for high school students led to an increase in test scores and overall academic achievement. On the other hand, increasing amounts of homework for elementary students led to a decrease in their performance. Homework created negative attitudes towards schools. Okay. Now, when assigning homework, there's like a certain guide on how much homework you should, or how much homework you should assign for each student per grade level. And it's kind of easy to recognize this here. So in first grade, you want to do 10 minutes, or they recommend 10 minutes. Third grade, it's recommended 30 minutes. Eighth grade, 80 minutes. 12th grade, 120 minutes, right? So 10 minutes per grade level. You can kind of see the trend here. You can see the pattern. So, the research recommends the following amount of homework assigned per grade level, and it's in minutes again, right? This is so 120 minutes, that's 2 hours. Now, grade level recommendations. I hope you, okay, this is just a review of this right here, right? So third grade 30, eighth grade 80, 12th grade 120 minutes. Now, when designing homework, there's a lot of different factors you want to take into account. So, okay, we're going to get into that now. All right. For younger students, teachers should use homework assignments that get parents and guardians involved. These are the types of homework assignments such as collaborative games and family play activities. Like if you go back here, homework can be used as a way for family bonding. Okay. Just because homework is usually meant to review doesn't mean it has to be boring. When teachers give out engaging homework assignments, it increases the likelihood that they actually do it. Homework is synonymous with like boring work. You try not to make it boring. Give fun activities. Now, homework should never be too difficult for students. It's meant to be achievable for all, right? However, there's going to be times where it's too difficult for students to complete. Therefore, teachers must ask the students if they have any questions the following day, right? So if you give a homework assignment and maybe it's hard to tell it. You're not going to know if it was too hard or if the students got it until kind of like the day after, really. And so, after you assign homework, that's when you ask them, are there any questions? Was it difficult? Do you want me to go over any problems? So you're not going to know till really the day after. Educators of today must understand that not all students have the same advantages and safety in their home. Some students can't afford internet access at this point. That is a reality. Or some students don't have a quiet place to study. Doing homework can be really difficult. You don't know what's going on with a child's life. Even computers at the library, the excuse a lot of teachers say is, oh, just send the student to the library to do it. Well, a lot of times those computers at the library are all taken up. I've been there. I'm thinking I went to the library like a couple months ago, and they were all taken up. And the people that get those computer seats, they stay there all day. Give assignments that all students can complete. And be considerate for those students that don't have access to the internet or have difficulties. Always try to, that's why it's important to have a relationship with students and to know about your students. The more you know about your students, the better you can educate them. So some teacher tips here. I talk about flexibility, rewards, not grading, contacting the parents. We're going to go over these. So when it comes to homework, flexibility and understanding are important teacher characteristics. Students may simply forget to do their homework every once in a while. Okay, things come up. It's okay to give students an extra day here and there for makeups. It's not the end of the world. Homework is ultimately about growth, making improvements, and mastering skills. Okay. Some teachers feel that they have to assign homework just for the sake of assigning homework. They feel pressure because other teachers are assigning homework, and they're like, "Oh, I got to assign homework." That's not a reason to do homework, right? Homework should be assigned only when needed. Okay, if there's a certain skill and they're not doing good and they need homework for that area, then you give it. But if there's a topic that all the kids get and they're all doing well on it, then you don't have to do homework. You don't have to give homework every day. A great strategy is to give students a little bit of class time to complete their homework. I always do this. Okay, this takes away from the excuse that they were busy to do the work at home. If students are not doing their homework, contact the parents, see what's going on. Okay, maybe there's some issue going on. Parents are in the best position to make sure that students are doing the homework. So if they're not doing the homework, reach out to the students. And again, right, it's great to give some time in class for them to complete their homework. And students do a lot of activities. Some of them, especially in high school, they'll be in a million clubs and sports and things like that. So when students do their homework, be sure to reward them for their efforts. Give them full credit for doing their homework. It'll bump up their grade. They like seeing the 100 in their, in the grade book. Teachers could get creative. You could use reward points, ticket systems, and extrinsic reinforcements to sort of bolster or boost homework completion rates. So student success here. Okay, how do we put students in success to complete their homework? Because, there's at home, or when you're not around the teacher, there's a lot of obstacles students have that can prevent them from completing their homework. So there's several strategies that they can do to successfully complete their homework. First off, it's beneficial. Let the students know it's beneficial for them to have a set time for doing their homework. For example, every day right after school, or every day right after family dinner. Every day. That's a success tip. When doing homework, they have to minimize the distractions. Okay, let them know to put their cell phone away, electronics away. And if you're a parent right now and you've got children like me, make sure that's going on. Help out your own children. Students will be amazed at home. Students will be amazed at home at how much work they get done. So they'll be amazed at how much work they get done when they put their phone away. Another strategy is to form study groups. This way, friends can support each other and encourage each other to get their work done. Many students have busy lives. I said this earlier. Sports, jobs, chores, curricular activities. They take a large portion of their day. So students have to really plan for homework time. Okay, and they need resources readily available. At home. Make sure they have a spot where they can go, a quiet spot, and they have their pencils, paper. They need calculators, highlighters, snacks, all that stuff. And we know some kids come from who are at a socioeconomic disadvantage. This is going to be tough for them. Remind students that it's okay to ask questions about work. If students don't understand, teachers should be there to help. Okay, that's the whole point of a teacher, to help them out. You can't just you can't leave them behind. Encourage your students to create homework zones where it's consistently quiet and always available for these children to do their work. So homework zones, try to get that into their heads. Now we're going to talk about the criticism of homework. There's a lot of criticism out there. Let's see. You can see here a couple of the topics we're going to cover: cheating, negative attitudes, rushed work. We're going to go over these. So some of the criticism of homework is that students have rough lives at home. They may have to work. Okay, they don't have quiet places. There's a lot of reasons. Not completing their homework can negatively impact the student's grade. That's the worst. Okay, because homework's meant to help a student, and if they're not doing any homework and they're getting all these zeros, it could really harm the student's grade. And maybe the student's a 70 average student, but he's got all these zeros from homework, or she's got all these zeros from homework, and now she's a 40 average student. That's not what we want. Teachers need to face the reality of the situation, which is that most students copy homework from their friends. That's true. I see it all the time. Students are continually finding new ways to copy, and they do cell phone photos, and it's so easy now for them to cheat. Teachers just aren't there to monitor at home. This is a video right here on the pros and cons of homework. I'm not going to play this one, but this one's actually pretty good, and it sort of creates a versus chart where they go. Here it is. Here's the infographic from the video. So you can see some of the pros. And some of the cons here. So some of the pros is, doing homework's a great habit. Practice makes perfect. You really got to watch the video, but you get the gist here. Some of the cons are students copy each other. They need a social life, socioeconomic problems. It decreases achievement in elementary school. However, it increases achievement in high school. We know, we said another pro is that parents, it can become a family bonding thing. It's less screen time. Some of these students just go home, or some of these kids just go home and they just play video games all day, or they just look at their iPads. Why not use that time getting their homework? So there's pros and cons here. And I understand both sides. Homework criticism, right? So extracurricular activities have a positive effect on children. Some parents feel students should be allowed to focus on other things outside of school. We're teachers and we think the whole world revolves around education. There's a lot more out there. Another problem is that many students simply rush through the homework because they know it isn't graded for accuracy. So they just rush through it. And I feel like it shouldn't be graded for accuracy. It should be a place where students can be allowed to make mistakes, but they take advantage of the students. They just rush through. Let's keep going here. And here's a nice overview. All right, this is an infographic from the earlier video, and just basically goes everything we went over here. Conflicting research. There are a lot of criticisms. When assigning homework, be flexible. Don't always grade. Contact the parents if you need help. Let time in class. Students have some time in class to complete it. And success tips for students. Let them know they need resources. Got to minimize distractions. When designing your homework, it's important to avoid tech barriers. I feel like I feel like I skipped that one. And make it achievable for all of them. Okay. All right. So that was a good one here. I really enjoyed that one. Right now, I just want to say thank you for your time, and I'll see you at our next professional development training. Let's keep it going here. Let's keep learning and being better teachers.